Heartwarming moment, black teacher shares floor with baby, billionaire discovers amazing truth. The afternoon sun spilled golden light into the crowded classroom, casting a warm glow on Marcus as he sat cross-legged on the floor, an anchor of calm in the storm of youthful energy. The children gathered around him, eyes wide with a mix of excitement and curiosity. In his lap rested Zoe, a tiny bundle of joy cooing softly, her laughter like bells chiming in the back of their shared dreams. The room buzzed with earnest voices as they shared their hopes, becoming doctors, artists, and inventors, each dream a vivid splash of color against the backdrop of their worn school. It was a moment of pure magic, where hardship seemed to fade against the power of their possibilities. Outside the school, Philadelphia thrummed with life. The sounds of sirens, street vendors, and busy pedestrians filled the air. But here, in the sanctuary of Marcus's classroom, joy reigned supreme. His passion lifted spirits, he believed in each kid as they navigated their struggles. They all felt it, an unspoken bond formed amid the challenges surrounding them, an affection that illuminated their lives, forging a path they longed to tread. On this very day, James, a billionaire known for his sharp business acumen, wandered the streets with an open mind, looking for new investment opportunities. His first glance at the school sent a flicker of skepticism through him. To him, it was just another struggling institution amidst a sea of neglect. But curiosity nagged at him, urging him to step inside. His eyes widened as he stumbled upon the scene in Marcus' classroom, the circle of children hanging on his every word, the twinkle in Zoe's eyes reflecting the hopes around her. Something stirred within James as Marcus guided the young minds, gently coaxing out their dreams. This was no mundane classroom, this was a vibrant garden of potential. This was what real investment looked like: growth, compassion, and a collective heart beating in unison. But as James considered how to help, he felt a heavy disconnect. His life of privilege seemed stark against the struggles of these children. Thoughts spiraled within him: would his changes improve lives or simply strip them of spirit? He proposed funding for quick fixes, focusing on numbers and outcomes, thinking it wise business, but Marcus felt the weight of those changes could extinguish the fire of creativity in his students' hearts. Tension mounted. Parents whispered of betrayal, their fears rising like a tide. Marcus felt the weight of those eyes, the children's futures dangling in the balance. They looked to him for guidance and strength, and he feared he would fail them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Community meetings buzzed with passion as vocal parents and spirited children stood up to share their dreams. As James listened, he felt a raw, emotional ache. It was so much bigger than his initial calculations. He began to question everything he'd known about success. Would he choose to truly invest, not just of dollars but of empathy and understanding? As Marcus stood to speak, the air crackled with anticipation. A moment hung between them: a chance for change, or a retreat back to the safety of spreadsheets. What would James decide? Could he embrace humanity, or would he remain trapped in a world of cold numbers? The answers loomed, waiting to unfold, leaving everyone on edge for what came next. Marcus cleared his throat, his heart pounding as he looked out at the rows of anxious faces. He saw not just children but dreams, aspirations hanging in the air like colorful kites. Each child had poured their hopes into their testimonies, their voices blending into a rich tapestry of desire. He could feel the tension in the room, a palpable energy that thrummed like a guitar string ready to snap. "Thank you all for sharing your dreams," he began softly, but his voice gathered strength with each word. "You remind me every day why we are here. It's not just about the books or the tests, it's about you and your journey." James watched in awe. There was a fire in Marcus's eyes, a passion that seemed almost tangible. It was infectious. Each child leaned closer, hanging on to Marcus's every word. What we need isn't just money, it's belief. Belief that we can create a space where ideas flourish, where all of you can explore the depths of your possibilities away from the shadows of doubt. Marcus paused, allowing his words to sink in. We need to build dreams together. Suddenly, James felt a weight on his chest. He could picture his board meeting room, where the best ideas often drowned in corporate jargon and thin spreadsheets. But here, in this humble classroom, people spoke from the heart. That was where real investment lived, and he had almost missed it. As the crowd erupted in applause for Marcus's heartfelt speech, James felt both inspired and terrified. What if he entered this world of emotion and connection, only to fail them? The specter of his past failures to connect personally with projects hovered like a dark cloud above him. He glanced sideways, catching the nervous sweat on the brow of one mother who had stood up to plead for art supplies for her son, a boy who dreamed of painting the halls of the school with vibrant murals. He could see at her unwavering faith in her child's talent. Why am I even here? James thought. What difference can I make? Yet, as the room buzzed with anticipation, something shifted inside of him. It wasn't just about saving a school, but about investing in the spirit of a community. He began to realize the transformation he sought wasn't just about numbers but nurturing lives. That moment of insight surged through him. His trembling hands smoothed the creases of his shirt as he stood, startling himself. Eyes turned toward him, the weight of their hopes bearing down like a freight train. I want to help, James said, his voice stronger than he expected. But I need to do it the right way. I want to listen to you. The murmurs in the audience swelled, a mixture of surprise and hope shimmered in the air like sunlight breaking through clouds. Marcus smiled, a glimmer of understanding flashing across his face. He had waited for this moment, a bridge between their worlds. This is what we need, someone who will walk with us, not just write checks. Suddenly, hope was woven into the very fabric of the room. But with every budding promise, a new question loomed: would James truly be able to prioritize their dreams over cold, hard cash? Could this billionaire step into their world without losing sight of the creativity and passion that thrived there? As the discussions shifted to ideas and paths forward, the atmosphere was electric, filled with possibility. But with every heartbeat of excitement, Marcus could feel the shadows of doubt lingering at the edges. What real changes would come? And as James listened more intently to the children's laughter, a sound he had almost forgotten, he knew the real journey was only just beginning. Would he be strong enough to navigate the complexities of their world, to learn the deeper truths of connection and care? Or would he slip back into the neatly defined metrics of his old life? The clock ticked steadily forward, and everyone felt the weight of the moment as they held their breaths, waiting for the next chapter to unfold. What would James do next? James took a deep breath, steeling himself for what came next. He felt the warmth of anticipation in the room, the palpable belief that he could counterbalance the years of negligence with one meaningful commitment. But the doubt lingered. Was he ready to step outside his bubble, where decisions were measured by profit margins and risk assessments? Marcus began to walk around, encouraging the children to share more of their ideas. The room was alive with chatter, the air humming with youthful enthusiasm. James watched as Marcus leaned down to listen closely to a young girl with bright red glasses. Her enthusiasm was infectious, her hands gestured wildly as she described her dream of creating an after-school robotics club. James felt a pang in his heart, a longing to be part of that spark, the raw excitement of young ambitions unfurling like tender leaves in spring. "This is for you," the girl declared, her voice rising above the chatter. James could see her mother beaming with pride, overcome with the joy of her child's passion. An idea flashed into his mind. What if he didn't just push money into this community but encouraged creativity by bringing in professionals to lead workshops? Real professionals who lived and breathed the subjects these children were interested in. His thoughts took flight, entwining with the laughter surrounding him, painting a picture of involvement that felt frightfully exciting. "Would that be something you'd want?" James called out to the group, his voice carrying the newfound energy he felt. To have experts come in and work with you directly? The response was instantaneous. Heads nodded, eyes widened, and anticipation sparkled among them. He could see that glimmer of hope building like a wave about to crash on the shore of their dreams. Marcus nodded approvingly, but he stepped forward, a seriousness settling on him. That essay start, James, but remember these children are looking for more than just skills. They need someone who believes in them. Someone who is willing to fight for what they want to achieve. James felt Marcus's gaze pierce through him, weighing the heavy truth of those words. It wasn't just about the workshops or the resources, it was about investing in relationships. It was about standing by these kids as they chased their wildest dreams. I understand, James replied, his voice quiet but steady. I need to hold that thinking close as we move forward. I don't want to lose sight of the connection. Not far away, the young boy who wanted to paint murals caught James's attention. He was nervously fidgeting with his shirt, staring down at the floor as if the weight of his dreams were too much for him to bear. There was a stillness about him, a stark contrast to the vibrant conversations echoing in the room. What is it, buddy? James asked gently, crouching down so he was eye level with the boy. What would you do with those art supplies? The boy's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. I want to make the walls bright. I want everyone to see how colorful we can be. I want them to feel happy when they walk in. An ache formed in James's chest. This wasn't just about art supplies, it was about happiness, about creating a sense of belonging. The boy's voice wavered, but it was a resolute reminder of why they were there. I promise you, we'll find a way to make your walls come alive, he replied, sincerity brimming in his voice, strong against the nervous knot in his stomach. We'll get those supplies, and we'll paint the real you on those walls. The boy's face transformed, a smile breaking through his anxious facade. James felt a rush of warmth that intertwined with relief. He was beginning to understand. As buzz began anew, ideas floated like balloons, and laughter echoed with more hope than ever. But James couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Could he truly push his fears aside and become the champion these children needed? He stood tall, surrounded by flickers of inspiration, but the path stretched long before him, full of challenges and complexities. Would he have the courage to face them? Just then, as a flurry of ideas and dreams bloomed around him, a thought hit him. What if he invited the entire community to join in, not just as supporters but as partners in this journey? What would happen if every voice in the room contributed to crafting a new narrative for their school? The energy surged, electric and ripe with possibilities. But just as James contemplated these thoughts, a distant sound broke through the excitement. A shattering crash echoed from the back of the room, drawing everyone's attention. What had happened? The crash shattered the atmosphere like fragile glass, and all eyes turned toward the source. James felt his pulse quicken as he stood, instinctively moving toward the sound. His heart raced with concern, questions swirling in his mind. What had just happened? Marcus led the charge toward the back, where a display of art supplies had toppled, sending tubes of paint and rolls of markers rolling in all directions. A few children rushed to help, their excitement momentarily turned to concern. Among them was the young boy, his expression tight with worry. It's okay. Marcus called out, kneeling to help, his calm voice steadying the anxious murmurs. Let us clean this up together. Nothing we can't fix. James crouched beside Marcus, scooping up a few paint tubes scattered across the floor. The colors were vibrant, brilliant under the dim lights, and the boy's face reflected that same vibrant longing to create. This is just a bump in the road, James said softly, trying to reassure him. The boy nodded, but the fear was still evident in his eyes, as if the fragile dreams of a light-filled mural were now on the edge of being erased. Just then, James caught the reflection of a little girl's tear trickling down her cheek. Hey, it's not the end. Look around, you all have so many ideas, so much talent. Let us not let a spilled box stop us. His voice was stronger now, fueled by the hope surrounding him. The other kids joined in, rallying around the mess, laughter breaking through the tension. Yes. Let us paint no matter what. A girl shouted, raising a paintbrush triumphantly. The boy watched, his eyes lighting up as he picked up a jar of bright yellow paint that had rolled towards him. A smile began to form, a flicker of determination igniting within him. James felt it too. Amidst the chaos, the spirit of creation was alive and thriving. As they handed paint jars and brushes back and forth, laughter replaced the fear, the room pulsing with energy. Collaboratively, they began discussing how the art wall would not just be a place to display their work, but a canvas of collective dreams. Marcus stood watching the transformation, pride swelling within him. "You see this?" he said, glancing at James. "It's not just about resources, it's about resilience. These kids are learning. They're supporting each other." James sighed, a warm realization washing over him. This moment was more than workshops and art supplies, it was about instilling confidence. Just then, a familiar face popped through the door, the girl with the red glasses. She waved at James, catching his attention. "Mr. James," she shouted, "can we have a mural on the side of the school too? Like a huge one? With all our ideas?" The suggestion sent a thrill through him. A mural. A space where every voice could be heard, a shared story painted across the school walls. "Absolutely," he replied, unable to hide his excitement. "We can workshop this idea, create sketches, and then bring it to life. Together." Cheers erupted from the group, vibrant and hopeful. But in that moment of unity, James felt a twinge of fear creep back in. The stakes were rising. What if the community didn't support it? What if the mural didn't represent what they really wanted? Just as self-doubt began to settle in, he looked into the eyes of the small boy, who clutched his paint despite the earlier chaos. A determination flickered between them, sparking something deeper within James. Maybe it wasn't about having everything perfectly planned. Maybe it was simply about starting. The waves of excitement pulsed through each child, rattling walls he never knew were holding him back. But could he truly face down the fears that threatened to sabotage this vibrant dream? As the group discussed ideas and laughter echoed around him, the shivering doubt remained just below the surface. Would they rally the community together? Could he step beyond his fears? As the last of the spilled supplies was collected, the call hung in the air like unpainted canvas. What would be the next step, and would he have the courage to take it? The chatter in the room vibrated with excitement as each child began to share their vision for the mural. Colors danced in their imaginations, and James felt himself getting swept away in their enthusiasm. With each idea voiced, it became clear that this mural wasn't just an artistic endeavor, it was a piece of their shared identity. "Let us paint a giant dragon," shouted a boy with tousled hair, his eyes wide with wonder. "A rainbow with butterflies," suggested a girl, her hands flapping with delight. James watched the ideas bounce around like they were physical things, each one contributing to the collective tapestry they were weaving together. But beneath the joyful chaos, a small thread of worry still lingered. Would these kids really feel supported when it came time to present their mural to the town? "Let us brainstorm how we can show our community spirit," Marcus said, breaking through James's turbulent thoughts. He turned to the kids, encouraging them to think of symbols that represented their hopes and experiences. A hand shot up from the back. It was the boy with the yellow paint. "What if we paint the sun? It can be the light for everyone." He beamed. "That's beautiful," James replied, genuinely moved. The sun hadn't just been a random choice, it symbolized warmth, a guiding light, and unity. At that moment, he recognized the power that their art could hold. It could transform doubts into a celebration of pride and community. As the brainstorming session continued, the atmosphere thickened with purpose. They sketched out plans on the whiteboard: dragons and rainbows, suns and flowers, each new suggestion birthing even more creativity. Laughter erupted frequently, mixing with the sounds of markers squeaking against paper, yet, as the excitement bubbled, James wrestled with the nagging fears swelling within him. What if they hit bumps when it came to executing their ideas? What if adults didn't understand or value the kids' efforts? The visions of defeat crept into his mind, clawing at the edges of his hope. Just then, the girl with the red glasses interrupted his spiral of worry. "Our mural will make the whole school happy. It will show how amazing we are." Her declaration was unwavering, cutting through his doubts with the certainty of a child who believed in magic. James felt a swell of emotion. Here was this little girl, with her impossible yet vibrant vision, igniting something deep within him. Maybe this mural was more than a piece of art. Perhaps it was a catalyst for change, a way for the community to see what they could achieve together. Let us put a plan of action together. We can have a community day to get everyone involved. He suggested, voice stronger, infused with newfound courage. Let us show everyone what we can create. Let us invite them in. Cheers erupted once more, echoing hard against the walls, as if their sheer enthusiasm could knock down any resistance that might be out there. That's it, James thought, his heart pounding. This mural could truly be a bridge, a chance to connect hearts and minds within their community. Confidence surged through him. He could feel the transformation already beginning, but as the room filled with chatter and excitement, a voice from the door called softly, breaking through the din. It was the principal, a serious look etched across her face. James's heart sank. Had he gone too far? "Mr. James, may I speak with you for a moment?" she said, her tone unexpectedly stern. His friends quieted down, glancing back with expressions that mirrored his unease. What now? What would this mean for their dreams? James took a deep breath, steeling himself for the unknown, ready to finally face whatever challenge awaited him. What could she possibly have to say that could affect their mural? Would it shatter their hopes, or would it open new doors to possibilities they hadn't yet imagined? James stepped toward the principal, the sound of the children's voices fading into the background like a distant memory. His pulse raced, uncertainty swirling in his stomach. The anticipation was thick, a palpable tension that made each breath feel heavy. "Of course, Principal Reyes," he replied, keeping his tone even despite the storm inside him. She motioned for him to follow her outside, away from the vibrant energy that filled the classroom. As they crossed the threshold, James glanced back at the kids, who were whispering among themselves, their eyes wide with curiosity. He wished he could somehow reassure them that everything was going to be okay. In the hallway, Principal Reyes turned to him, her brow furrowed. "I heard about your plans for the mural, James," she began, her voice steady but somewhat firm. "I appreciate your enthusiasm, truly. But I want to talk about the resources you might need." James swallowed hard, caught off guard. He expected a reprimand, a caution against dreaming too big. Instead, there was an opening, a way forward. I think we could use paint supplies, brushes, maybe some assistance to get everyone involved," he stammered, his confidence growing with each word. Principal Reyes nodded thoughtfully. "And have you considered potential critics? There may be parents who aren't so thrilled about the mural or its themes." Her words hit hard, each one a sharp reminder of the realities they might face. James felt a knot form in his throat. But this mural is about unity, about showing what our community stands for. He argued, the passion for his students igniting within him again. Don't parents want to see their children express themselves? We're demonstrating pride. She held up her hand, a gentle gesture that stopped him mid-sentence. "I believe in what you're trying to do, James. But I need you to think ahead. Prepare the kids for discussions, for questions, and for pushback. Not everyone will embrace this project the way you hope." Nodding slowly, James tried to process her words. The hope he envisioned for the kids could just as easily turn into a source of conflict. "I understand," he replied softly. "I'll make sure they're prepared. I want them to feel proud and confident in what they can create." Suddenly, the weight of responsibility settled heavily upon him, and he realized it wasn't just about art anymore. it was about resilience, too. Good, she said, her expression softening. Let us gather those supplies. I'll make the necessary calls and let the parents know it could be a great community-building experience. James felt the tiniest spark of relief flicker in his chest. Thank you, Principal Reyes. I really believe this can be something special. As he walked back into the classroom, James felt a swell of renewed energy. The children were still abuzz, and he couldn't help but smile at their unyielding spirit. He stepped into the room, a newfound determination pushing him forward. All right, team. We have a new plan, he announced, excitement lighting up his eyes. They paused, turning toward him expectantly. We're going to invite our community to join us. But we need to be brave. We need to show them exactly why our mural matters. Yeah. A chorus of voices shouted, their eyes shining with possibility, but amid the cheers, a familiar voice rose from the back. What if they don't like it? It was the girl with the red glasses, her brows furrowed with genuine concern. James took a moment to choose his words carefully, the reality of the moment sinking in. Then we show them why we love it, he said finally, his voice steady. This mural is us. And no one can take that away. As the kids eagerly started sketching again, James's heart surged with pride. They were all in this together, ready to face whatever came next. Would their mural truly resonate and create change? The fear of uncertainty hovered in the air as enthusiasm rumbled like a storm, a mixture of hope and dread. Just then, a tap on the window drew every gaze. A group of parents stood outside, curiosity etched on their faces. James took a deep breath, knowing this moment could lead to his greatest challenge yet. What would the parents think? Would they embrace the children's dreams or squash them before they began? James's heart raced as he walked towards the window, feeling a mix of apprehension and anticipation. The parents outside were shifting from foot to foot, their expressions revealing a blend of curiosity and skepticism. A few exchanged glances, while others observed their children's animated energy inside the classroom. It was as if the weight of their approval or disapproval hung in the air. Okay, everyone, let's pause the sketches for a moment, he called out, his voice cutting through the buzz of excitement. The children turned their heads in unison, eyes wide and alert. We might have some visitors. The children's murmurs became a whirlwind of excitement and nervousness. James could feel the fluttering nerves in his stomach, reminding him that this was not just about art. It was about sharing a piece of themselves with their parents and, ultimately, the community. As he walked closer to the window, something odd dawned upon him. Among the parents, he recognized Mrs. Clark, a long-standing member of the Parent-Teacher Association known for her traditional views. She often pushed back against anything she deemed too bold or excessive. James swallowed hard. This was his chance to turn skepticism into understanding, but would he be able to? Let us be brave together, he encouraged his students, turning to them with a reassuring smile. Remember, our mural speaks for us. It's our message to the community. Suddenly brimming with confidence, he stepped outside to greet the parents. Each face turned to him, some with welcoming smiles, and others with frowns betraying their hesitation. Thank you all for coming to see our plans. He began, raising his voice to cut through the tension. We've been hard at work on something really special. Before he could finish, Mrs. Clark interjected, her tone pointed. Are you sure you want to involve the community in this? What exactly are you painting? Her brows were knitted together, and there was an aggressive edge to her question that made James's stomach drop. A flutter of doubt flickered through him, but he shook it off. He had done the hard work of teaching the kids to stand up for their vision. They needed him to embody that today. It's a mural about unity. About showing that our differences make us strong, he replied, injecting warmth into his words. The parents remained silent, the weight of her skepticism hanging heavy in the air. James could see the wheels turning in their heads, thoughts spiraling into concerns and doubts. But then, one of the children from the class, a boy with bright blue sneakers, stepped up beside him. "We want everyone to feel included. Each color and shape will tell our story." His innocent enthusiasm melted some of the apprehensive faces. James felt a swell of gratitude towards his student. This was the moment of connection they needed. "That's right," James chimed in, "each brushstroke will show how special our community is." He turned back to the crowd, awareness of their apprehensions shining in his eyes. "We want to celebrate resilience, strength, and togetherness. I believe art can be a powerful bridge." He could see a few nods, small but encouraging. Even Mrs. Clark's gaze softened just a touch, her frown wavering. "But what if it goes against some beliefs?" she asked, her voice less confrontational now. "Art thrives on discussions," James replied, his heart racing with hope. "If we listen to each other, if we can open our hearts, maybe we find common ground. Maybe we inspire our children to embrace each other." He sensed the shift, hesitation transforming into contemplation, the beginnings of empathy illuminating the atmosphere. A few parents continued to illustrate their concerns, but the energy began shifting to something more constructive. As they talked back and forth, a realization struck James: this was about so much more than the mural. This was a moment of change, an opportunity for growth, not just for the kids, but for the community. The possibility of facing pushback loomed, but now there was also the spark of hope. Perhaps the mural could unite them in ways he never expected, and just as the conversation started to warm up, another parent, one known for being particularly opinionated, stepped forward. "But what if it really does divide us?" he asked, seriousness clouding his face. James inhaled sharply. How would he respond? Would they ever fully embrace what they were creating? That question lingered in his mind, an echo of uncertainty as he felt the spotlight shift once more. James took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the conversation press down on him like the humidity before a rainstorm. This was not just about colors splashed on a wall. It was about connection, understanding, a community learning to embrace its differences. "I appreciate your concern," he said, his voice steady. "A mural is a reflection of us all. It will capture our joys, our struggles, even our conflicts, but more importantly, it shows how we can come together despite them." He glanced at the children, now standing eagerly behind him, their hopeful faces lighting up the moment. Art has the power to tell stories. It can spark tough conversations, yes, but it can also lead us to compassion. Some parents shifted uncomfortably, still grappling with their reservations. But a glimmer of involvement began to shine in their eyes. A mother in the back, recognizable for her warm smile and infectious laughter, stepped forward. "I want my kids to be part of something meaningful," she said, her voice filled with warmth. "How can we help?" That question sent ripples of enthusiasm through the gathered crowd. James smiled widely, sensing the spark of collaboration igniting. "We love your ideas. Every family has a story worth sharing. What thoughts do you have about how we can make our mural inclusive?" Before anyone could answer, a small voice piped up from the class. It was the boy with the blue sneakers again. "What if we paint our favorite memories? Like playing at the park or celebrating holidays." His excitement was contagious, causing laughter and nods from the parents. James loved the idea. "Exactly. Imagine a mural that captures our family traditions, the festivals we celebrate, and even the little moments that make our community unique. Each section could tell a different story and showcase our different backgrounds." Mrs. Clark's frown faded into deep thought as she assessed this new perspective. "I suppose it's not just about what divides us, but what connects us too," she murmured, her voice reflective. Her brows relaxed, and for a moment, she looked less like a gatekeeper of tradition and more like a fellow member of the community. James took a chance. "Mrs. Clark, might you share a memory that holds importance for you? Something your family treasures?" She paused, as if the invitation wrapped around her in a soft embrace. Well, my children love helping bake together during the holidays. It's chaotic, flour everywhere, screaming and laughter bouncing off the walls. But it brings us closer. Perfect. James exclaimed, an idea forming in his mind. We could create a section showing that joy, perhaps with images of cookie shapes and fun colors. It could inspire others to recreate those small but meaningful moments. The crowd murmured, a new energy rippling through them. Slowly, he could see how their walls of skepticism began to stagger. One by one, more parents started to share ideas, and soon enough, stories from childhood were whispered, transformed into visions that could be painted across the mural. But in the back of his mind, beneath the surface of excitement, James couldn't shake the question from the parent before. Would all these stories truly resonate in harmony? Could everyone really feel represented, or would some voices still feel unheard? As he glanced out at the sea of faces, a quiet determination brewed within him. They were on the brink of something special. They had only just begun to carve out a community narrative. The mural is our chance to celebrate each other. To show our children that, even when we differ, we can still come together, James said, buoyed by newfound enthusiasm. A collective feeling of possibility enveloped the gathering, but uncertainty still lingered in the air. Just as he began to hope that this moment could lead to something transformative, a worried mother stepped forward again, her face pale. What if some of the stories clash? What if our children don't see eye to eye? James's heart sank slightly. Doubts had returned, merging into a storm of questions. Would they be able to navigate the complexities of their community? Would the mural become a true emblem of unity, or a haunting reminder of their divisions? He stood silent for too long, his mind racing as the moment trembled with tension, hanging by a thread. James could feel the pressure mounting in the air, a palpable tension that rippled through the crowd like a wave at the beach. His heart was pounding now, each beat echoing the weight of her question. Did they really have what it took to face each other's differences? Could they craft a mural that reflected their shared lives without glossing over the discord? Let us not shy away from those concerns, he finally said, gathering his thoughts. Instead, what if we use this mural as a space for dialogue? We can create areas that reflect various perspectives together. We can include symbols of what makes us unique, but also what binds us. Wouldn't that lead to understanding? The worried mother loosened her grip on her son's hand, a flicker of consideration crossing her face. Behind her, others nodded, perhaps feeling the spark of unity beneath their reservations. Maybe we could have a talking spot, suggested another parent, a father with a thoughtful expression. Like an open forum where people can share their thoughts before we start painting. It could promote understanding. Yes. James couldn't help but feel buoyed by the engagement. A mural isn't just about the final product, but the process of getting there. If we share our stories first, we can create a design that feels inclusive to everyone. A mural that's a living conversation. Encouraged by this idea, another mother chimed in. I want my children to learn that it's okay to express their fears and hopes. Maybe we could have some kids paint sections that represent how they feel about their culture or community. As the dialogue surged, James felt his heartbeat steady, a comforting rhythm filled with possibility. Parents emerged from their shells, sharing memories of family picnics, cultural celebrations, and the food that defined their heritage. Stories poured forth, unlocking voices that hadn't been heard before. James held on to those stories like precious gems, the laughter over grabby toddlers at parties, the beauty of potlucks where different flavors mixed, and the discoveries that came with sharing their world's corners. They were painting an intricate tapestry, vibrant and rich in detail, but doubt wormed its way back. Could this still hold when they finally put brush to wall? What if someone pushed for their narrative, drowning out the contributions of others? His stomach twisted slightly. Just then, the boy with the blue sneakers raised his hand again, his face bright with enthusiasm. Can we have a part where we paint our dreams? Like what we want to be when we grow up? James's heart warmed. That's a brilliant idea. A section where we can visualize hope for our future, but then, he remembered the question flickering in the back of his mind. What if someone else's dream clashed with another S? A quiet tension began to creep in again. All these stories and visions are wonderful, he said, injecting a note of caution. But we'll also need to ensure that each voice contributes without being overshadowed. We must promise to listen as much as we paint. The crowd murmured, a mix of agreement and apprehension swirling about. Just as James felt that they might be leaning into something meaningful, Mrs. Clark spoke again, her voice unwavering. But how do we ensure everyone feels safe to express themselves? James's throat tightened. Here lay the heart of their challenge, unity without stifling authenticity. He took a breath, recognizing this as a pivotal moment. Maybe we can involve a local artist, he proposed. Someone experienced in community work who can guide us and make sure every voice is cherished. We can't ignore the tough stuff, but we can learn to navigate through it together. Excitement danced in the air, but doubt still loomed. Would the artist truly help bring the community together? Or would they find themselves further apart? Let us take a vote. Someone exclaimed, and James could feel their anticipation mount as he prepared to steer the future of their mural. The decisions ahead felt monumental, the stakes high. As the hands began to lift, he thought of the stories yet to be told and the walls yet to be painted. Yet, a nagging emotion uncoiled within him, uncertainty. Could all their dreams truly find a place in this mural, or would some still be lost in the discourse? And just when the air began to fill with hope once again, a loud crash echoed from the back. The mural's dreams, vivid, vibrant, but fragile, now hung in the balance. What had happened? The crowd turned, eyes wide with panic. The sound of chaos tore through the room, like thunder rumbling on a calm day. Everyone turned, their hopeful buzz vanishing in an instant. James felt his pulse spike. What could have gone wrong now? There, at the back of the classroom, stood a toppled easel and scattered paint cans, their colorful contents splattered across the floor like the dreams they had been nurturing. A few children shrieked in shock, worry etched on their faces. The boy in the blue sneakers who had suggested the dream mural stood frozen, eyes brimming with tears at the sight of their vibrant aspirations turned into a messy puddle. It's okay. It's just a spill. Marcus called out, his voice cutting through the tension like a lifeline. He rushed over, reassuring kids as he went. James followed closely behind, eager to help. Together, we can clean this up, Marcus said, kneeling to gather the scattered supplies. James joined him, scooping up paint cans, his heart racing, unsure how this unintended disaster would impact the energy they had created. This was a chance for unity, or a moment that could break them apart, but as he looked around the room, something remarkable happened. Children began to join the cleanup, some giggling, others rallying around their fallen treasures. Started as a chaotic moment, the room shifted. They were banding together, elbow-deep in paint, laughter surfacing with every swish and swipe of cleaning. James watched as the small boys' eyes lit up again, the fear of their dreams washing away in the wake of teamwork. "We'll just need to clean up and start fresh, right?" he said, a glimmer of hope reflecting as the kids began to chat excitedly about how they'd best tackle their mural despite the setback. "Yes!" cried the girl with the red glasses, her infectious optimism cascading across the room. "Let us make it bigger. Let us paint even more." Suddenly, the energy wasn't just about fixing what fell. It transformed into a fervent belief that together, they could rise above this hurdle. James stood there, pride swelling in his chest. This was resilience. This was a lesson in community. Not everything would go perfectly, but they had each other. "Each mistake is an opportunity to grow," he shouted over the noise. Slowly, the fear melted into exhilaration and determination. They all began brainstorming new ideas on the side of the room, the dreams they would color and share after this little disaster. The unity felt tangible, a thread woven between everyone involved. Just then, a few curious parents peeked in, drawn by the ruckus. And instead of dread, James felt excitement. "Come join us." He beckoned, waving them in. One mother entered, disbelief dancing on her face. "What are you doing?" "It's no big deal. Just a little spill," said the shy boy, now buoyed by newfound confidence. "But we're gonna paint it all again, and make it awesome." They exchanged glances, a few parents stepping inside. James saw Mrs. Clark's wary expression soften as she watched the infectious zeal enveloping all the kids, a moment when children were teaching adults about bravery and perseverance. As the cleanup rolled on, James saw the small boy with the blue sneakers approach him again, a new weight in his eyes. "I was worried," he said softly. "I didn't want it to be ruined." James knelt down beside him. "Sometimes, things feel broken, but together we can fix them. Just like this mural, our shared dreams are too important to let a little mess stop them." The boy nodded, a small smile appearing, reflecting the vibrancy of hope in the air. Families began to approach more, curious about building something new, witnessing the honesty that sprung from working together in the aftermath. Inspiration thrummed like a heartbeat as they entered, eager to contribute their ideas and reclaim energy in the creativity that surrounded them. Marcus joined them, his arm gesturing over the chaos. "See what happens when we work as one? Let us turn this challenge into our strength." And there it was, the tipping point that solidified their collective spirit. Ideas erupted as parents joined the kids, sparking a chain of creativity, fueled by the tests they faced. In that moment, James felt a powerful sense of transformation wash over everyone. They weren't just painting a mural, they were crafting a legacy of connection, learning to embrace their differences and celebrate every stroke of individuality that emerged. This was it. A collective narrative unfolding, embodying the real heartbeat of their community. As the children giggled and parents shared memories while cleaning, James thought about how far they had come. What began as doubts and failures now transformed into colors mixing, new ideas blooming like wildflowers in the spring. He could hardly believe this moment could shift everything so spectacularly. After the last can was picked up, the chatter blended with an eagerness to forge ahead. James raised his paintbrush like a banner. "Let us paint. Let us show everyone our hearts and our dreams." The room erupted in cheers, resonating like fireworks on a summer night. The mural wouldn't just be a piece of art, it would be a symbol, a promise of their struggles, their successes, and their indivisible spirit woven into stunning brilliance. As brushes dipped into colors and hands collided with hues, a radiant future lay ahead. And beneath the chaotic storm of paint, a harmonious masterpiece began to rise, proving that even setbacks could pave the way for greatness. As James worked alongside Marcus and the children, laughter and joy filled the air, resonating louder than the doubts that once lingered. They were creating something extraordinary together, one brushstroke at a time. Finally, he turned to the kids and parents with a glimmer in his eye. "Remember this, in all our differences, there's always room for unity." And at that moment, he truly believed it. Now, don't wait not even one more second to share this moment. You need to subscribe now to catch the next exclusive stories and leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to feel this transformation. It's time to celebrate the power of community together.